I'm here today with Deanna Ransom, and Deanna is CEO and president of Women in Revenue. Women in Revenue is one of the women in sales groups that I've been watching for a while, and there have been some really neat differentiators in this group that I wanted to make sure everybody knew about. Welcome, Deanna. It's so great to have you on today.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you for having me.
You bet. We talk about women in revenue and the She Sells news, and we also mention events when we hear about them because women in revenue has been doing some things for a while. One of them is that you have a Slack channel, which I really like, and I know a lot of women connect there. And secondly, you've done some interesting events. And I just wondered, as you build the community up, if you could just tell us a little more about Women in Revenue and how you're really full cycle. You're not just within sales. And this should interest some of the women who may not be in sales themselves, but they're connected to it. They're all part of the revenue machine, if you will. So tell us a little more about what Women in Revenue is doing.
Yeah, thanks, Lori. One of the things that is really important as a differentiator is, as you said, we're revenue, all of the parts that touch that revenue engine, marketing, sales, customer success, rev ops. And believe it or not, the more interconnected we are and that we can learn from each other, the better we can be when we go back into our companies in working with our cross-functional teams in order to drive that revenue growth. So that's one key thing. You mentioned the Slack channel, which is amazing. People can get in there and have great conversations and support one another. And one of the other things that we've done, we've added to our quarterly big events that we have virtually, and we launched Women in Revenue TV. Lori, you were just on.
That's right.
Along with other community leaders.
Yes.
Where it's important that we begin to be able to get more information out, not just on the creation of the revenue, but also, you'll love this one, Lori, how important it is to build these relationships and inclusive teams. Right?
Yay.
Yes. I'm doing a little plug. Go get Lori's book. But it's super important. And so these are the things we look more holistically, and we cross all of those functional areas.
Yeah. And the event that you hosted recently is a great example of women working together because you had Sisters in Sales on there. You had Women Sales Pros and you had Women in Sales with Alexine Ludoir. And we all were able to share our points of view, and we all have different organizations, but we support each other. I think that's a really important characteristic, and it's something that I've seen you do really well.
Thank you, Lori. And it's really important. One of the things that we've seen in our research data that's coming up, and I'll just share a little bit here very briefly, is that one of the key challenges that seems to be on the rise, it is particularly for women of color, is politics of women in the workplace as a barrier. And I'm bringing that out because when I saw that, A, my heart dropped. B, I thought about how important it is in this time where we've seen so many women, A, exit the workforce, even at the most senior levels.
Wow.
When we're looking at challenges around driving growth and all of these things that are happening, why in the world would we take back the wrong way towards not helping one another, creating these political barriers that become greater challenges for certain women? And that's unfortunate. And it's something that I think is super important that we deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. This is an evolving business that we're in terms of seeing the ebb and flow of working to get more women in and then having layoffs and all sorts of different things. But if we all work together, I really think not only will it make it easier, I think we'll be more successful. And I really appreciate that Women in Revenue and you in particular are willing to do that. So thank you for that. And let people know how they can get into the Women in Revenue community.
100%. So there's 2 levels of membership right on the website. And you can join as a community level member, which is really what I call our lurker level member. But these are folks who may attend our virtual events. They get the newsletter, maybe get involved in the survey in the Slack channel, and which is great because it's a good way to either get your feet wet in the community, or if you just don't have a lot of time, it's a good way to still stay connected. We also have professional level membership, which I wholeheartedly would encourage you to take advantage of while it is yet of no cost, because at no cost for professional level membership, you can get mentorship or be a mentor. You can get into our speakers bureau where we do training as well as placement and connectivity. And then we also have our equity resource program where our women can be ambassadors, or our sponsored companies are learning how to evolve their culture so that they can not only create more inclusive teams, but they can sustain and advance those people who are a part of those teams.
That's fantastic. And it's womeninrevenue.org. That's right.
That's right.
So womeninrevenue.org. Deanna Ransom, thank you so much for telling us more about women in revenue. And we look forward to seeing you back on here again.
You betcha. Thank you, Lori.